This is Joseph, the J of jmdj Studios, and I'm here today to do the evolution of video game controllers, the Sega and Microsoft edition. Now, the reason I have two main reasons I'm combining these controllers. The first reason is the Sega Dreamcast. The Sega Dreamcast has a Microsoft logo right here on the front. It doesn't mean the controllers themselves or the companies are actually related in any other way other than that. The second reason I'm doing it is because the similarities of the controllers, they actually kind of evolve into each other, and I'm going to be talking about that today. And I have to go ahead and make an apology. 3 of the controllers that I'm going to be talking about today are actually not here. I haven't completed my collection on them this far. So instead, what I'm going to do is, when I'm talking about those controllers, the Sega Master System, the second Sega Saturn controller, and the original Xbox controller, not the remake of the original, but the original, I'm going to show you a picture of that controller so you can understand what I'm talking about. So to start off, we have the Sega the Sega Master System controller. This was a lot like the NES controller. It's got the A and B button, so 1 and 2, and it's got the floating D-pad. It's a little bitty square box, and also you can see number 1 is actually the start button. So there was only 2 buttons and then the D-pad, and that's all there is to that. Moving on to the Sega Genesis controller. The controller is a lot larger. They added a little groove on the inside here. You can see the light reflecting off that real well. And they gave you a third button, A, B, and C, and they gave you the start button separate, and then they got the floating D-pad on this side. So that's basically the only difference there. Moving on to the first Sega Saturn is the, we got here, you see, we have, it's basically a smaller controller, but they gave you the 3 buttons, and they added 3 more new ones on, X, Y, and Z. You've got the same D-pad, and then on the back here, you can see it again, yep, they added on the groove, make it easier to hold. So that's basically the Sega Saturn there. Now the next controller is the Sega Saturn, the variation of this. This controller is huge. It's really big and bulky, but the importance here is that they added on the analog stick. They got the 6 basic buttons again, the start button, the D-pad, and they gave you the little groove to hold on to it again. So it's the same controller, it's just really bulky. So, you know, that's basically all there is on that one. Moving on to the Dreamcast controller. The Dreamcast controller here is what really starts the connection to the other games. First off, I want to point out the color scheme. You've got green, red, blue, and yellow. Okay, so you've got A, B, X, and Y. Then you have the start button down here. You've got the D-pad and the analog stick. They have 2 controllers, or 2 left and right trigger buttons. So you got that control. Something weird about this controller I'd like to point out is the fact that the cord comes out of the bottom of the controller. Note all of the previous controllers actually have the cord coming out of the top of the controller, which is a little bit different. And also it has a little window here, so you know you can actually take that out and for your memory card, and then you got the little window there in the Dreamcast, and then you got the 2 expansion ports. Okay, so that was the Dreamcast. Now we're moving on to the Xbox. Now I'll talk about the Xbox original right now. I'm going to go ahead and flash a picture of that while I'm talking. The Xbox original is really big and bulky. It's also rounded on the bottom. So, and they have 6 buttons. So it's basically exactly like the older systems that had the 6 buttons. I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyways, that's the original. So now moving on to this. This is the Xbox variation. It's the newer one they made. You got the D-pad and the analog stick here. Note on this one, in the Dreamcast, you have the analog stick and the D-pad in the same spot. Also, you have start down here on the bottom. You have start on the bottom. Look at the color scheme. Green, red, yellow, blue. Green, red, yellow, and blue. So, and then they're also the same buttons, A, B, X, and Y. You've got A, B, X, and Y. And they're in the little bitty square in the exact same way. You also have the little window here, just like you do in the original Xbox with the big circle. So, you know, that's the same to the window there. And they've added on an additional analog stick here. And then you can, as you can see, you've got the 6 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like the Sega Saturn, you have the 6 buttons there. Now, back to these two controllers, particularly, one of the things that makes them the most common, besides the triggers themselves, are the expansion ports. There's actually 2 expansion ports on both of these controllers. That's something they've kind of done away with, but there's 2 there, and there's 2 here. And then they, of course, have the handles have been more rounded, and you got the trigger. So that's basically the original Xbox. And now we're moving on to the last system, the Xbox 360. They've kept it basically the same. They added in the home button here. So that's for the players to check their status, their messages, go back to the home page, whatever you want to do. There's a D-pad and the analog sticks in the same spots as the last one. And they've rearranged the start and select from here or here to the top here. They've also taken away the expansion port and just left you with one here and a battery pack. It's wireless now. And then you've got the bumpers added on in addition to the triggers. And it's a lot more easy to hold. As you can see, it's more grooved and rounded than the original one. It's smoother and kind of fits your hand better. So, you know, this controller actually fits pretty well. So, but that is all for the evolution of video game controllers, Microsoft and Sega edition. So, this is Joseph, the J of JMDJ Studios. Make sure you subscribe to us, and definitely keep watching for more videos. I have several other evolution of video game videos planned, at least 2 different ones. So, thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, because we need it. And we're off.